So we start with the news about Kroupi being injured, unfortunately. He sustained a foot injury in pre-season and has undergone surgery, so there's a picture here from his Instagram account. He's going to be out for 4 months to rehabilitate. So it's unfortunate news for Bournemouth. Last year he scored 13 goals in 35 appearances for Bournemouth. So he was sort of scoring a goal every 3 games. It's also a bit of a loss for the Sun Dream team because I think a lot of people were perhaps looking at putting him in their teams because he was probably going to be priced a bit lower than sort of other strikers, and he would have been a good differential. That being said, what I've done is I've put on the screen the other players that you could consider if you wanted to go for a Bournemouth asset. I mean, I think Evanilson is going to be starting in the striker role anyway. They have signed Rodriguez, but he's very young and very new, and quite often the new signings don't go straight into the team, do they? So Evanilson's likely going to start, but his record is not great, to be honest. This is the stats from last season: 38 appearances, 6 goals, 4 assists. So 0.26 returns per game. So really, he was getting a return every 5 games. So really poor stats for a striker. So I personally wouldn't go for him. Kroupi, of course, kind of played in the number 10 behind Evanilson. So who's going to play in that number 10? Well, I think if we go over to the right there and see Kluivert at the bottom, he's probably the man that's going to go into Kroupi's place in the number 10. Now, he's been at Bournemouth for some time. He had a very poor season last season, if you look at the stats. I think the year before he did very well. I think he scored like 13 goals in the 38 appearances. And then last season he didn't always, appear in games, 21 appearances, but only 2 goals, no assists. So I think his minutes were quite limited. But even still, 0.09 returns per game. It's awful. So I don't think we should even go there to begin with. I do expect Kluivert to be in the number 10 for some points in this season, but the stats are awful. If we go back up to the top, then Tavernier I think is a good option. So he often plays off on the wing. He made 35 appearances last season. So if he didn't start, he came on and scored 8 goals and 4 assists in the 35 appearances. So his output was 0.34 returns per game. So he was getting a goal or an assist every 3 games. So I think that's good going. I mean, he's going to be priced, very reasonable. And for those returns, I think he is an option. He has already started a couple of times in pre-season as well. I do think he probably starts given his record last season and the fact he's already starting in pre-season. So I think he's an option. I also think Ryan's an option. So he made 15 appearances last season and scored 5 goals and 2 assists in that time. So very good going as well, even better than Tavernier. So 0.46 returns per game, so a return every 2 games. Now, obviously, he played sort of less than half the games that Tavernier played, but he's already improved on Tavernier's data. So I think he's going to come out the blocks even more this season. He was involved with the Brazil squad for the first time, I believe, in the World Cup just gone. So I think he's going to come out and have a really good season. So if you're thinking of having a Bournemouth asset in your dream team, then Now Kroupi is no longer an option initially. Tavernier or Ryan are your replacements, in my opinion. Bournemouth are in Europe as well, so they're going to be utilising a lot of their squad. They're going to be having more games, more routes to points. So I think it's definitely worth considering which Bournemouth asset that you'd like to go for when the time comes. To start the season, their first 3 fixtures are City away, Everton at home and Newcastle away. So not the greatest first game, but they have a couple of good games after that. The second topic we're going to talk about in this video is about Newcastle, and are they reaching an end of an era? So Hull has left Newcastle after 5 seasons. He has helped them finish 11th, 4th, 7th, 5th and 12th in the last 5 seasons. He's done an amazing job, and I think it's really sad that he's left. You know, he's been a great English manager, and it's also sad to see that they seem to be losing half of their team that did so well for the last few years. You know, they won a cup in 24-25 season. They were qualified for Champions League. They were in Champions League last season. You know, they got world-class players in, like, you know, Tonali and Guimaraes, and they have lost and sold players, and they don't seem to be replacing them with the same sort of experience and quality, quite frankly. So they've lost Trippier, he's gone back to Wolverhampton. They've lost Tonali, he's gone to Premier League rivals Tottenham. And they've lost Gordon, the firepower up front who provided many goals and assists last season. He's gone to Barcelona. So they've lost 3 great players from this team, and they could still lose some more. Guimaraes, of course, is rumoured to go to Arsenal very soon, and there's been quiet speculation over Hall. You know, Manchester United potentially interested in him as well. So I think if all these 5 players end up not playing for Newcastle this season, I mean, they really are left with a much poorer side than last season. I've put the remaining squad on the right hand side of the screen, and on the pitch there is just an example lineup that, you know, possibly played from last season, and you can see with the crosses the outgoings and the potential outgoings with the question marks. So with the remaining squad, I think they're okay in defence. They've got a few backups players there. I'm a bit worried about the midfield. So if they lose Guimaraes as well, that's 2 very experienced, very good players they could lose in midfield. And who have they got left to replace them? I mean, Miley is a fantastic young player. He really is. But he's just coming back from injury. He was out for quite a lot of it last season with injury. Willock, he didn't always play last season. He certainly wasn't first choice. Ramsey played when he was fit, but he was often injured for some games as well. And they brought in 2 new midfielders. I mean, Bamba is like a 19-year-old defensive midfielder that I presume they've brought in to replace Tonali. But again, he's young, he's inexperienced. And this Stur guy, he's from the Netherlands. Again, very little, if any, experience at all at the highest level. So midfield, I think, is a big problem as it stands. Up front, I mean, Barnes, he will be a guaranteed starter this year. He didn't always play last season because he was sharing minutes with Murphy and Gordon, but he's just signed a new long-term contract, and, you know, he provided many goals and assists when he started and off the bench last season. So guaranteed starter, I think, is probably the best player to consider for your Sun Dream team this season if you did want a Newcastle asset. Alanga on the other wing, he didn't do very well last season, especially coming for a massive price tag from Nottingham Forest. He seemed to did better in the Champions League as far as I remember, but in the Premier League his numbers were really, really poor. So really that's it for wingers from last season, and then they've brought in this Toure, who's also a winger. I don't know anything about this player, to be honest, but he's obviously going to be a backup or a starter for Alanga. And then up front, I mean, Voltemada started the season last season really, really well, didn't he? And then second half of the season, not great. It didn't help the fact that he didn't start games towards the end of the season. He seemed to not be in favour anymore by Eddie Howe, and even Visser as well. I mean, they were both on the bench towards the end, and Asula was starting. Visser didn't do very well, did he? He came for a big price tag as well, and certainly hasn't repaid that back yet. Asula looks good. He looks promising. He's young, he's fit. I remember watching a game last season where he got the ball towards the halfway line and he took it all the way and scored the goal. And I think as long as he gets the service, I think he could be a really bright prospect for Newcastle this season. So, yeah, worrying times ahead, I think, for Newcastle. New manager. It's going to be a new team. It's going to be a fresh start. It's going to be a reset. It's going to be another new build. Yeah, I feel for Newcastle fans, but it seems to be an end of an era from my eyes, unfortunately. They don't start the season great either in terms of fixtures. Liverpool come to the Toon first of all, and they then go to Tottenham away, where Tonali has ended up, hasn't he? So I think it's 2 losses, first off for Newcastle, unfortunately. The final topic I'd like to talk about is Aston Villa's possible defensive midfield issues. So you see on the left-hand side 3 players that played quite regularly for the Aston Villa team, sort of last season going into the previous, Tielemans, Kamara and Onana. Now, Tielemans is actually gone. Now he's gone to Premier League rival Manchester United, who are also in a Champions League, like Aston Villa. Great midfielder who was really good defensively as well as offensively. I think he's going to be a massive loss to Aston Villa because he was so versatile. He also scored some great goals over the years as well, didn't he? He's been a great servant for them. Kamara, he got injured partway through the season last season, and apparently is only a third of the way towards his full recovery. And then unfortunately Onana suffered an ACL injury in the most recent World Cup just gone, so he's going to be out for a very long time. So, I mean, who have they got currently in the defensive midfield? Well, McGinn can play there. He's a very versatile player. He could play in there, but he's 31, 32 now. Does he have the legs and the pace really to do that role, as with Barkley down below? So again, he's like 31, 32 years old now. He didn't play many minutes at all last season because he was quite often injured, so he's not, a reliable player, really. Bogard, top right there, he's young, 21-year-old, who played midfield quite a lot last season. But again, watching the games, he didn't sort of catch my attention for being this amazing player in midfield. And then they've just signed João Gomez from Wolverhampton, who obviously has Premier League experience, but he's new and he's going to have to fit in this team with almost like a makeshift, you could say, defensive midfield as it stands, with sort of a lack of quality, you could say, a lack of pace, and potentially, injury concerns regarding them going forward. So they need some reinforcements quick, especially as they're in Champions League this season. This is not enough in my point of view to compete at the highest level against these great elite teams that have so much pace going forward. They desperately need reinforcements, and I expect they're out there looking for them right now. They start the season Brighton away. I mean, any away game is going to be difficult, especially the first one. and then Arsenal come to Aston Villa, so it's really not a good first couple of games for Aston Villa. And it's a shame for Aston Villa that they've sort of sold some great players or they've lost them to injury. Similarly to Newcastle, I think they're going to struggle more this season than they did last season. So yeah, it is a shame to see, but hopefully we may be surprised and some great reinforcements will be through the door shortly for both teams, so they can sort of continue to compete as high as they can with the other top teams. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please check out my other previous videos in advance of the new Sun Dream Team season. And please like the video and subscribe to the channel so you can be informed of my new upcoming videos. There's plenty more exciting content to come, and I'll see you on the next one.